What is going on, everybody? It is June 8th and it is a muggy summer day here in western New York. It's about 80 degrees already and feels like August. So we're gonna take you guys back to October. It was the end of October. Brett and I were able to go out to Pennsylvania to hunt for a couple days for the Public Land Challenge, and we never showed this hunt during the season because we only had like a day and a half or so, 2 days to hunt. But what we did do is really get to do a lot of scouting, and we had a lot of good tips for scouting big woods. It was the first time we had ever been there, and then we were lucky enough to go with Zach on his recovery of his buck. After we got that, we had a nice long conversation on the last day, hung out with Zach in the camper, talked about, you know, hunting the Northeast and just his hunt in general. So we hope you guys enjoy this video. Like I said, big wood scouting tips. Got to sit down with Zach and talk about some buck stuff, and yeah, hopefully you guys learned something. And if you have any ideas of videos you want to see in this off season, let us know in the comments and we'll do our best to make them happen. We appreciate you guys.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to give you anything, John. I might be waiting there for a while.
What time did you get here last night? This morning?
Pretty close to 1 a.m.
Okay. I heard you come in. You're a little man, but you're not quiet.
I was yawning. Say it again.
I said I heard you come in. You're a little man, but you're not quiet.
That's what my wife says. Oh my God.
Got some Joe. We're at the Cadillac camper, which is way too nice for humans like myself. I don't know. Probably not too nice for
I
me.
don't really know if I've ever stayed in a camper. I've more the camped, so.
Yeah.
Get your stuff in my truck. We're going to head to the hardware store, pick up a license. We're going to go to drive around Scout Access. And then we're putting our boots on and we're freaking pounding ground until we find what we're looking for.
Sounds good to me.
We may find it at 11 o'clock. We might not find it till tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I really haven't pinned a ton because the area that I did pin looks really good. It's got a lot of diversity in it. It's got clear cuts. It's got some really good topography. They're going to funnel deer activity. It's got a good swamp on the bottom. And it looks like it's pretty deep, so I would be surprised if we didn't find at least something close to what we're looking for in that area. It's a big area too, so it's not like we pinned a little 50-acre spot we're going to check. It's thousands of acres, so I think we have a little over a mile hike in to get to like the first area I want to check, and then if we don't find it there, we're going to continue down to this bottom, which is closer to 2 miles. So we have a lot of ground to cover. We don't have a lot of time to hunt either. The weather's terrible for today and tomorrow. It's like in the 70s. Not great for deer activity in October unless you're right on top of them. So we're going to do that. We're really banking on Saturday because we got a cold front coming in. Can't hunt on Sunday, unfortunately. So we got like a day to hunt, essentially, in my mind. So I'd rather spend 2 days scouting in poor weather to find, you know, the spot to hunt on a cold front rather than just to sit a mediocre spot on 2 days of junk weather and then not be in a cherry spot for Saturday's cold front. So apparently it's pretty cool here. I drove in the dark, so I couldn't really see.
I haven't seen it in the daylight either. So.
You haven't either? Yeah.
No.
So we don't even know what it looks like out here. So, but it'll be cool to partake, see some new country, see some new. I think it's pretty mountainous from what I've heard. Topography looks like it. We're up high. We're like over, I don't know, a lot of stuff's like 1,500 plus feet in elevation. So it'll be cool.
All right, we just got here to Pennsylvania late last night. Brett came in around 12:30. Obviously, you guys have seen us talking about what our plan is. We just got to the spot. Brett had to go do some stuff that we don't need to talk about or show, but literally we just parked the truck right here. Big old scrape right there. Rub right there. So not too far off the road. we actually were able to drive back down in here a lot further than we thought we were going to be able to. So
Scrape right there?
yeah, like real fresh.
That's a little dinky scrape.
Yeah.
We need to find one.
Yeah, I know. It's just like
no, I know.
right here.
Always heavier than I like. Look at that. To get some boots, I guess. That's where my boots live.
This wide angle is messed up because you're way closer to stuff than you think. Yeah.
What just happened, Sean? Let's go. Oop. Let's extend it. 72, 130 centimeters.
Taller than you.
That's actually bad. A couple of rocks over there too. The deer in the area. Alright, so I've had a lot of people ask me, like, how do you know what a primary scrape is rather than just like, you know, a scrape that a buck randomly leaves at night. You see right here, see how we can see these roots in the scrape? That means the scrape has been worked year after year after year. Those roots don't come to the surface, or the dirt actually is what's going down, what's just being removed from the earth, and those roots are being exposed. This is a scrape that's used year after year. It's down near the creek. I mean, we're 20 yards from the creek right here. Overhang hemlock branch. You can tell right here is busted off. So this is one that's been worked. I don't know that it's necessarily a hub scrape, but it's definitely a scrape that these deer use year after year. So if I wanted to get inventory of the bucks in there, I'd definitely run a camera over this one. But I don't know that this is going to be a lot of daylight activity. There's actually rubs on these hemlocks right here too. So decent on a sign. All right. What is it, my top? Grab that milkweed bag.
Right into the left.
If we were to hunt here, it would be sitting over the water. Kind of like a hemlock like this or something like that. So, anyway, good place to note. You get all ugly footage of the buck coming through here. Terrible. Look at the trail coming off the ridge right here. Yeah, this is what we're looking for. So, a little bit of a synopsis of what's going on. We found a bunch of sign in this bottom, scrapes and rubs. But I really think these bucks are bedded up high on these points up on the ridges and then dropping down on these bottoms at night. This is at the base here of this ridge. There's a big scrape here. It leads down into that bottom. And right now we got a big trail coming off this point. And this is literally the point of the ridge right here. We're looking up at the point. So I suspect, and this is all southerly facing, that there's going to be some bucks bedded up on here, another couple hundred feet, kind of looking down, and then they're dropping down in the evening, coming down this bottom. And then that's where they're leaving all this sign. I mean, this has been worked over for years. You can tell old rub, new rub, fresh scrape. So, I mean, that's battered right there. It broke it right off. So, yeah.
It's just one of those things, though, too. I think it's important to say is that, yeah, the sign's really good right here.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that's right where you want to hunt.
No.
Especially this time of year.
I don't think in daylight.
Yeah.
During the rut may be different, but we're a little bit before that. So I think that most of the mature buck daylight activity is going to be up high. That's what I think. I don't know. I've never hunted this area, but just from my experience in this type of country, hill country and mountain country. So.
But it's easy to see this and be
Oh,
like,
yeah,
oh yeah, here we are. This is where we need to be.
Yeah. And that may be the case,
yeah,
actually,
for sure.
but I don't think that it is, so we're going to keep pushing. But this is good because it tells us these surrounding ridges probably hold some bucks. So we just got to figure out which one is the one. But the way everything lays and is positioned here for wind direction, and I think this point's going to be good. So hopefully we find what we're looking for up here.
What's that? We're finding.
That's tall right there.
Yeah, big tall buck.
Big tall buck.
Big LeBron James looking buck. Big rub right there. We're finding some stuff. It's still, I just don't like this. Yeah, could be good, but there's a stand right there, so I guess we won't be hunting right here. Oh, there's something to strap up on. Stretched up to a found us a big old rub. And look at that fresh. But that's a big one. But it's fresh. We just found a big signpost on this beach here. It's been rubbed for years. You can see the fresh shavings down the. I mean, it's this year, but hit this year. I'm surprised I don't see a scrape right here, though. It's still not like smoking fresh sign yet, but you know,
It's the best we found.
yeah. Well, from the bottom, yeah, I would agree. There's another rub
It's the
right
best
there.
we found for more daylight
Yeah,
potential.
right.
So that was the top of that.
I don't know if you know how difficult it is to rip beech trees apart either. Like beeches don't come apart.
Because I mean,
We're finding some.
this looks good. Like that looks like a spot where a buck could bed right back in there and just
Yeah.
watch this stuff before it comes out to the cut. I mean,
Potentially, yeah.
that's the Midwest mentality in my mind
Right.
that mixes with the Northeast.
I just want to keep walking this back
Oh,
until
yeah.
we find like.
Yeah, let's go scare the crap out of them for
Yeah,
sure.
let's bump them and dump them
How would you look at? Yeah, we found a really good spot here.
next to the road.
Is it a drivable one though?
No, probably not. But it's next to a road. Oh, at least we don't have a long. I don't know. We'll go check it out. I bet there's a scrape there and there, and a big rub there.
So you say that's a fresh one, huh?
That's a fresh one. You get stuff on top of the leaves, and then you can just tell by the way it looks.
Yeah.
But there's a road 15 yards away, but I don't know. That may be one that you have to walk 2 miles up to get in. We're gonna walk out to it, check it out.
We're gonna go see if anybody drove the road.
It doesn't look like anybody's driving it.
Let's go see if anybody drove
Let's
it.
take a look. Try to take a look and see if anybody's driving that road. There's a place right here. Well, we're walking this access road that we're not sure if it's gated or not. We're gonna find out, but we're pretty far back in here. We're over a mile, maybe a mile and a half. But this is kind of the back side of that area. We found all that sign, and there's a very big track right here, as you can see. That's big for even a Maine or New Hampshire deer. I don't know what the Allegheny bucks look like, body size and hoof, but that's a big track. That's a mature buck for sure. So that's kind of what I was hoping to see along this road. We've been seeing a lot of tracks that were, so-so, but that's a good one right there. Well, we just dropped into this bottom, or this drainage coming down off the top of this big ridge, mountain, hill, whatever you want to call it. There's cuts up on the high ground on either side of us, and we're in this drainage that runs down. It's a secondary drainage that runs to a main drainage that we came in on. And there's a big trail crossing right here. There's a big primary scrape under this hemlock branch. You can tell this thing's been tattered for years, all these broken branches. And then there's an apple tree, an old, it's alive, barely alive apple tree. There's another scrape right there. So there's a cherry tree over here that backs up against this hemlock for good back cover, and we're kind of thinking, John and I, that it may be a good setup. I usually don't like to hunt low like this, but it seems like a lot of the signs in the bottoms, and this is a bottom I can see them moving, and it's super thick. So, and the signs here would have a 20-yard shot to this crossing, and maybe a 30-yard shot to the scrape, and a 20-yard shot to this one, 25. So we might come in here and maybe try it in the morning. The thermal should be pulling us from the ridges down and then down the creek, down this direction to the main drainage. So we might be good with the wind. So there's a bunch of beds in here too, probably doe beds. But Right on that brink of the
late,
year.
yeah, late October. Big primary scrape.
It's definitely something to keep in mind for Saturday with that front.
Yep. Yeah. We're gonna have to make a decision, but I think we've found 2 solid spots, stand spots.
Yeah, update on the road. It's pretty drivable.
Yeah, the road looks drivable up to that spot, but it doesn't look like it's been traveled by many people. So I don't know. We're still poking around. There's another one there too.
Yeah, I mean, that branch right there used to be right there. So something got up in there. I'm guessing it wasn't a doe that bit onto that and snapped it off.
Man, I'd love to spend a couple weeks here and run some trail cameras and see what's actually hiding in these woods, but we're gonna have to sit here and find out on our own in a couple of days, hopefully. But
it's that cherry and apple scrape is right over there. A little light. Apple scrape's right over there. Big old primary hemlock, and then that run comes down right through here. Thick. What's that?
so she's pretty big. I can even get the strap around her.
Yeah. Got any snacks in there?
Nope. Sure, we can make her work. Step on this.
I've got some extra steps in my pack too that we could double strap some, you know.
Sure, we can make it work. Yeah, you can shoot the apple. Yeah, you got a shot to the trail. I mean, anything that hits that scrape's gonna crump across here.
Yeah.
He's not gonna walk down
And
the
you can,
scrape.
well, there's so much scrub brush.
Yeah. I'd sit over this. All right, so we're walking out, just getting back to the truck, and John got a call from Zach. Sounds like he shot one. So 3 yards on the ground, in typical Fehrenbach fashion.
The Fehrenbach way.
So we're actually gonna head south to go meet up with him, and hopefully we can find a little bit of a drive here to meet up with him. It's gonna be a late night, but totally worth it. So it'll be fun. We'll see if we can turn him up.
I have no idea, but I'm not so sure.
Found your arrow. Did it go right through him?
It didn't go through him. He carried it a while.
That, as you can tell, the whole crew, which is really awesome. I'm really happy to, get good friends to come out. But I'm feeling nervous because I don't know what exactly happened. No brow. That's wild. No, that's an acorn. Yeah, that's the wildest acorn you might ever tell, dude.
That's like it's a PA dream right there, man. It's like your dream back.
Is that the one you saw the traps? Did you look at his foot?
Yeah, I mean,
That's a pretty big hoof.
It must be Shredder. He wore his brow tines off.
good. That's the buck that I saw the other day.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Pretty sure. Yeah, so it's pretty good.
Here's your host, Zach Fehrenbach.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody for showing up. Thanks.
Now we're getting silly.
I mean, ideally.
All right, guys, we just wrapped up the short time we were here at the Public Land Challenge. We got here Wednesday night. You got here
Less than
basically
72 hours ago.
yeah. And a lot has happened. We got Zach here. we've worked Zach was an intern the first year. I started at Midwest Whitetail,
Yep.
and then full time, and then
I came out and did a hunt in Iowa.
yeah,
That's when I met Brett in 2015
yeah.
too.
Yeah, it's a weird circle we got going on here, and somehow we found ourselves all back in
same
Pennsylvania, same camper,
About
yeah.
to shoot a podcast.
Yeah, yep. And the guy from the Midwest killed the buck,
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm pumped about.
I had more time though, so
I mean,
I was
yeah,
able to
yeah, it was,
pick at it a little bit longer than you guys were able to. So
yeah, it was a epic recovery last night.
with the rain,
Rain.
Heavy rain. Oh, my hair.
What's that?
that was the part that like really got. I mean, we were talking about it. As soon as that rain started, I just like sprinted.
It
up
was,
the hill.
and it wasn't like
Yeah.
a drizzle. It was like
Pouring
we heard
rain.
it coming, and we thought it was wind, and then it was like, oh no, that's some serious.
I think you're in the
rain.
middle of an interview and you're like,
Yeah, and I just
and I was like, oh, I think it's when. And you're like, nah. Next to know, look, Zach's like up the ridge, his light's just like climbing. He's going to get his buck before it get washed away. But it's a good thing you did run
well,
up there.
the thing that, I mean, it did wash a lot of the way.
Oh, for
On
sure.
the way up, Orb was like, I think it's going to take a lot of rain to wash that blood away. And then
No.
it just
You had
kept
no, you
raining.
had no canopy
Yeah.
to stop anything.
Because from your account of how much blood was on the ground and what we saw, not even close.
No.
Like I was like, and I thought to myself, Zach's not crazy. Like
Right.
there must be more, and it must have got washed away. Because if that was the amount of
Like
blood on the
that.
ground, I would be like, we're getting out. That's not good. But
There was so much more when we were
Yeah.
there. And like all the stuff in between those big patches of blood. Because remember, I'd say it would
Yep.
go on, then it would taper off, then it would go on again.
the only thing you could see it on was the rocks.
Yeah,
because it
the-
kind of dried into it. Yeah.
And it was just, pretty nerve-wracking when that rain starts like that. But luckily we were able to find him. Everything went as good as it,
well,
as
that's
good as
just
it did. It wasn't
reality.
ideal,
It doesn't happen
but
perfect every time. It's just the way that it is.
but we found him, and
And one of the things John and I were talking about actually today in the stand is that, like, in the Northeast, when you get opportunities at deer like that, you kind of have to try to capitalize. You know, in Iowa or Wisconsin, some of those states, you may have multiple opportunities in a year. In PA, like if you get a buck like that, you gotta try to capitalize. Any of the Northeast states, because the opportunities just aren't there. So
yeah,
I mean, you might get 3 of them a year.
yeah,
And just botch them.
well, we had hunted. That was our fifth day, and most hunts, morning or evening, we weren't even seeing deer.
yeah.
I mean, we literally didn't see a dang deer until the day prior, and I saw a buck, which I'm assuming was that one. I didn't get a great look at him, but I think it was the same
Yeah.
buck. But just crazy how, you hunt some areas and you can be seeing tons of deer, but then you can be hunting and you're right in the game, you're not seeing much, and I felt like a crazy person because it's like we just keep doing it and we're not seeing anything. But
You gotta.
we were
That's
around
not-
the sign.
It's
and
not
just-
the same. Yeah, no.
That's like
especially in the timber.
your New Hampshire approach, right?
Like I,
Yeah.
you got to
sit
give it
there
time.
long-
You
if you
got to
sit
get.
there
That's the
long
thing, and
enough,
that's why
yeah.
this. John and I came here and we had, like I said, 72 hours, and I knew that was a tall task to try to kill deer. We can try, and we had fun. I mean, we learned a lot about it, and it was fun to compare New Hampshire mountains to this stuff, and a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences. You actually had some time, which was awesome. And that's the main difference I see in the Northeast. If you have the time to put in,
Right.
you can do well. But most of the guys like me, most of the year, it's like I got 2 days on the weekend, and maybe if a day or two here and there, it's tough. You got to put the time in. But if you have the time, keep going back, learning, putting it together, and you get a result like you did.
Yeah, and even last year in New York, it was the same thing for me. I had seen one antlered buck in the dark walking in the morning that I ended up shooting. Obviously a different buck, but it was like struggling, trying to, just continuing to try to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and then it eventually works out. But yeah, it's definitely a different game when, well, and with anything, if you're hunting specifically hunting mature bucks, I think there can be a lot of days where you're just grinding out, seeing nothing, and then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. It's just staying focused, I think, is difficult too, but extremely important. If you're not staying focused and you're getting sloppy, that's when you do get the opportunity, you make mistakes.
Yeah, and you're not ready for it.
Right.
Well, that's one thing I noticed when I got here. You were like just laser focused. You were like gonna kill that buck, and you what did you say? He said, "I'm not leaving till he's dead," and he isn't either. And you're right. But that's kind of what you got to do. I mean, in other states, you can kind of bounce around, and if you're not seeing and you're not validating your right away what you thought you would see, then it's kind of like, I need to move. But around here, you got to put the time in. You got to keep going back. Be smart about it. But
one of the coolest things was just like seeing. I mean, it was dark, so obviously we couldn't see a whole lot. But like seeing where you were hunting compared to where we were hunting, just
it's very different.
Wise, within 40 minutes of each other, was like a different world.
Your area,
like rolling my ankles over acorns.
Yeah, your area had a lot more habitat diversity and probably just better habitat in general. I purposely picked a place that was like way out there, because I just wanted to lose people and maybe get a chance at like a truly old animal.
And
I said
that was true. How many people did you see when you were hunting?
We saw people parked there. Most days there was somebody there in the lot, It's kind of weird, the timing. Every morning we'd be getting ready and somebody would pull in, like as we were standing at the truck. But they were all going up and to the right real close, and we were walking straight down to the back. And even I would say a lot of the people that are hunting that area, they go down that road a little bit, or that logging road or whatever, and just cut up. Well, we were going all the way to the very back and then going up the ridge. And I think that just eliminated a lot of people.
For sure.
But there was inevitably, just based off the area and the access, there was definitely more people hunting that, I would say, than other other pieces of public in the area. I think you could lose people easier, like you were saying. But it was just a situation where we were almost using that pressure to our advantage a little bit. I think it had those deer kind of hold up back there.
Yeah. I was impressed by the deer numbers more than I thought there would be. Even back in the stuff, because we were back, today we were just under 2 miles from the truck. But the other thing I was surprised by is, at home, I'm looking for a lot of topography, and then our deer do not like to spend a lot. They spend time in cuts and around cuts at night, but they're back in like that mature timber a lot of times during daylight bedded. These deer were it was all about the cut. They were in it, bedding in it, feeding in it, moving in it. And I remember we talked to Bo Martonic, or I did. He's from this area, and I showed him a video of one of the cuts, and I was like, lots of sign, but like I just don't see a big one moving through daylight. And he's like, no, like you should hunt that. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But like at home, we're talking cuts that has regrowth that's 1 year, 2 years old. That's this much. A mature buck at home is not going to walk.
No,
it's
almost like
that,
a field in that setting where it's almost like their destination food source, right?
Yeah. So it was interesting. It was definitely different. I didn't really have this hunt was more about spend time with you guys, everybody else here, just kind of experiencing the country and checking it out. I enjoyed it. I thought it's really neat area for sure.
It's awesome.
I'd come back for sure. Yeah.
I want to come back
a little more time.
The future. Rifle hunting here, I think, would be quite the experience, just because there's a lot of people. There's clearly just a
presence of Pennsylvania hunting tradition is huge.
It honestly surprised me. Like you could drive around and you can see these camps. Like there'd be a house. There's houses and they have like their camp name on it.
And that's all it is. Yeah. Well, and you think about it on a scale. Like we had a Onyx map of what we figured as 10 mile by 10 miles, so 100 square miles.
Yeah.
And in that 100 square miles was 64,000 acres of public ground, which is crazy because you could make 30 of those 10 by 10 like 100 square mile maps.
Yeah.
And you see how many people are hunting. There's Pennsylvania.
We found and we're back and we're in some stuff that I think where you were at would probably be more appealing to people. Probably a little easier to get into, a little better habitat.
Yeah.
Like when you look at a map, you're like, oh, that's good deer
Oh, I
habitat.
mean,
I
yeah,
was
that's
like,
what I
I just
did.
want to get in the middle of that's just how I am. I
Right.
don't care if it's shit habitat.
Yeah.
Like I don't care if there's like one deer there. I just want to be out. So that's what I did, and I'm fine with that. But we still found like probably 4 or 5 trail cameras and that stuff, which was
Really?
interesting. Yeah, and we found a couple stands. So there's some guys getting after it, out here,
Yeah,
which is
that's-
kind of
Which is
neat.
good. Yeah, it's cool.
Which
to
I
see,
wouldn't
too.
see at home very often. I mean, I occasionally find them, but not like the density. There's definitely more hunters, even though.
There's kind of a cool aspect of more hunters to me, though. Really, you know, it's when you're hunting, it can be frustrating. Like yesterday when we got that buck, we had plans to be somewhere else, and somebody was there.
Yep.
And it kind of, you know, it takes the wind out of your sails a little bit, but you just got to keep trucking and, you know, just keep adjusting. But I think you can ultimately use that hunting pressure to your advantage, and really what Ted and I were saying on the way in. So I think ultimately what made us kill that buck is we needed that. We needed something to push us to be aggressive.
Yeah.
And you know, we had done all the homework to figure it out. We knew that those bucks were in there, or there was a buck in there somewhere, and it was like, finally it was just like, all right, hey, now's the time, because it's Friday, it's the Pennsylvania weekend, it's Friday, you know, people are out there hunting.
Tomorrow's pheasant
Pheasant season. Tomorrow it's going to get wild, and like we just went for it and got aggressive, and on a day that was 80 degrees in the middle of the day, we ended up killing a buck.
which was awesome.
Yeah.
We were like bummed with the weather, but you know,
It
this
ended
time
up-
of year, you just
ended up being
stick
yeah.
with it, keep pounding it, and you're gonna
and
something's
things-
gonna break.
Right, things are starting to break loose,
Yeah.
and that's why you got to be out there.
Yep. So anyway, we had a great time. We're gonna get Zach to take it to the next level and come to New England.
It's in the
Yeah,
near future.
We're gonna do some New Hampshire and Maine stuff, I think, and I think you're gonna fall in love with it. So
I'm pretty certain that I know
Yeah.
I will fall in
yeah,
love
I know
with
a
it.
lot of guys that watch us love that stuff, and you'll see.
Look forward to it.
You're gonna get some main plates on that new truck of yours.
Yeah, I'll end up just moving there.
He's gonna be eating lobsters and venison and moose.
Sounds like the dream, really.
Till next time.
See ya.